Hello aspirant, there was many way to solve CSAT prelims reading and comprehensions. You can first read this passage only. After that, you can read these questions and answer and get the options, and you can assume the question answer. So this is one way, and you can first read the questions and then finding some answers from the passage. This is another way. What you want to do, you can do it. There was no restrictions. What is good for you, what is you thinks that is simple for you, make simple, then you can get out of that. So today our class was started now. First we just doing some questions passage. So we first read out questions first, then we go for passage. So first question is, which one of the following statement is least essential? This term is very important. Least essential as a part of the argument in the above passage. So which of the part we need to know? So we had first read the passage. Human history abounds in claims and theories confining the right of governing to a few select citizens. Exclusions of many is justified on the ground that human beings may be rightfully segregated for the good of society and viability of the political process. We do some common mistake, that is, we read this passage very fast pace. So we think if we save time, but this is not the right way. We need to read the passage very calm way. Whatever I read, I need to know it. I need to memorize it. After that it was works. So whatever I read, what I understand, least essential things what is. So we understand man seeks controls over external things affecting him. So first answer is here. Man seeks controls over external things affecting him. Or second options, to society there are super and subhuman beings. That is not possible. Exceptions to universal citizen participations are conducive to systemic effects. This is also not. Governing implies recognitions of disparities in individuals' capacities. This is also not in the passage. So we going to passage 2. First we read the questions. Which one of the following statement best sums up the above passage? So first we need to this passage very calmly. Please. By 2050, the earth populations will likely have soiled from 7 to 9 billion people to fill all those stomachs, while accounting for shifting consumption patterns, climate change, and finite amount of arable land and potable water. Some experts say food productions will have to double. How can we make the number add up? Experts say higher yielding crop varieties and more efficient farming methods will be crucial. So will waste reductions experts argue cities to reclaim nutrients and water from waste streams and preserves farmlands. Poor countries, they say, can improve crop storage and packaging, and rich nations could cut back on resource intensive food like meat. So whatever I understand this passage, the best sum up is the populations of the world is growing very fast. Food security is perennial problems only in developing countries. The world does not have enough resources to meet the impending food scarcity. food scarcity is increasingly a collective challenge. So what is the answer? The best sum up. So now what is the possible sum up? That is answer D. Food scarcity is increasingly collective challenges. So we can get the answer easily. So next questions. With reference to the above passage, which of the following is the most valid assumptions? This is assumption based question. If you need to these assumptions, so first you need to read passage. Many people in India feel that if we cut our defense expenditures on weapon buildings, we can create a climate of peace with our neighbors, subsequently reducing the conflicts or creating a no-war situations. People who proclaim such ideas are either the victims of war or the propagators of false arguments. What you understand and what is your assumptions? So option number 1, building of weapon systems by us has instigated our neighbors to wage wars against us. The greater spending on weapons building by us would lessen the possibility of armed conflicts with our neighbors. It is necessary to have states of the art weapon systems for national security. Many people in India believe that we are wasting our resources on weapon building. So answer is very difficult, not very difficult. This is assumptions based question, so answer is B. The greater spending on weapons building by us would lessen to possibility of armed conflicts with our neighbors. This is one kind of philosophy. To understand how can attempt assumption based questions. So next questions come. So we need to first read the questions. So which is the critical interference that can be made from the above passage? So we need to know what is the critical interference. India accounts for nearly a fifth of the world child deaths. In terms of numbers, it is the highest in the world, nearly 16 lakhs every year. This is one part. Of this, more than a half die in the first month of life. Officials believe that the reasons for this is the absence of steps to propagate basic health practices relating to breastfeedings and immunizations. Also, the large reproductions populations of 2.6 crores remains benefit of care during the critical phase of pregnancy and post delivery. Added to this is the prevalence of child marriages, anemia among young women, and lack of focus on adolescent sanitations, all of which impact child death rates. So whatever we understand this passage, we understand the child mortality rates, pregnancy times, mother's cares, and pre-pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and absolute sanitations. So we need to options first. A lot of Indians are illiterate and hence do not recognize the value of basic health practices. India has a very huge populations and the government also alone cannot manage public health services. Universalizations and integrations of maternal health and child health service can effectively address the problem. The nutrition of women in childbearing age does not affect child mortality rates. So what is the critical interference above? What is the critical interference? We need to know the critical interference. So which is the possible answer? Give me answer in the comment box. Answer is C. Universalizations and integrations of maternal health and child health services can effectively address the problem. So whatever the problem, we need to implement those solutions. So question number 5. With reference to the above passages, which of the following statements are true? So we need to first read the passage very carefully. Foods travel more than the people who eat them. Grocery stores and supermarkets are loaded with preserved and processed food. This, however, often leads to environmental threats such as pollutions generated by long-distance foods transportations and wastage of food during processing and transportations, destructions of rainforest, reduced nutritional contents, increased demand for preservations and packagings. Food insecurity also increases as the produce comes from regions that are not feeding their own populations properly. So whatever understand by this passage, say the your food scarcity, packaging foods problem, how that was impact environment. So go for the passage and know for true, which is true. Consuming regionally grown food and not depending on long traveled food is a part of eco-friendly behavior. This is absolutely what? This is absolutely correct. And food processing industry puts a burden on our natural resources. This is also correct. So answer is both 1 and 2. C. So understand how to attempt questions and how to get the right answer. So these passages containing many questions, 4 questions. So we need to first carefully read our passage, then we go for questions. So first passage is now, I must say that beyond occasionally exposing me to laughter, my constitutional shyness has been of no disadvantage whatever. In fact, I can see that, on the contrary, it has been all to my advantage. My hesitancy in speech, which was once in anyone's, is now a pleasure. Its greatest benefits has been that it has taught me the economy of words. I have naturally formed the habits of restraining my thoughts, and I can now give myself the certificate that a thoughtless word hardly ever escapes my tongue or pen. I do not recollect ever having had to regret anything in my speech or writing. I have thus been spared many a mishap and waste of time. Experience has taught me that silence is part of the spiritual discipline of a victory of truth. Provenance to exaggerate, to suppress or modify the truth, wittingly or unwittingly, is a natural weakness of man, and silence is necessary in order to surmount it. A man of few words will rarely be thoughtless in his speech. He will measure every word. We find so many people's impotence to talk. There is no chairman of meeting who is not pestered with notes for permissions to speak. And whenever the permission is given, the speaker generally exceeds the time limits, asks for more time, and keep on talking without permissions. All this talking can hardly be said to be of any benefit to the world. It is so much waste of time. My shyness has been in reality my shield and buckler. It has allowed me to grow. It has helped me in my discernments of truth. So what you understand by the passage? I think you very goodly understand. So we go to questions. The author says that a thoughtless word hardly ever escapes his tongue or pen. Which one of the following is not a valid reason for this? Not a valid reason. So this type of phrase you need to very carefully read. He has no intentions to waste his time. He believes in the economy of words. He believes in restraining his thoughts. He has hesitancy in his speech. Not a valid reasons. So what is the not a valid reasons? So answer is A. He has no intentions to waste his time. Question number 7. The most appropriate reasons for the author to be spared many a mishap is that he hardly utters or writes a thoughtless words. He is a man of immense patience. He believes that he is a spiritual person. He is a votary of truth. So question number 7 answer is he hardly utters or retain a thoughtless words. Question number 8. For the author, silence is necessary in order to surmount constitutional shyness, hesitancy in speech, suppressions of thoughts, tendency to overstate. So what is the answer? Answer is D. Tendency to overstate. We go to next passage. This is the passage. So there is one question, so we need to first read the questions. Which among the following is the most logical and rational assumptions that can be made from the above passage? So we need to read very carefully the passage. The passage is, the richer states have a responsibility to cut down carbon emissions and promote clean energy investments. These are the states that got electricity, grew faster and now have a high per capita incomes, making them capable of sharing India's burden of becoming eco-friendly. Delhi, for example, can help by generating its own clean electricity using solar rooftop panels, or even help poor states finance their clean energy projects. It is no secret that state electricity boards, which control 95% of the distribution networks, are neck deep in losses. These losses further discourage state utilities from adopting renewable energy, as it is more expensive than fossil fuels. So you read the passage and understand what is the passage want to say. So go to and understand what is the most logical and rational assumptions. First options. The richer state must lead in the productions and adoptions of renewable energy. The poor state always have to depend on rich states for electricity. The state electricity boards can improve their finances by undertaking clear energy projects. The high economic disparity between the rich and poor state is the major cause of high carbon emission in India. So answer is very easy. If you carefully read the passage, you can very easily understand what is the main assumptions. The richer state must lead in the productions and adoptions of renewable energy. This is the one more major highlight. So there was one question. This is a sensitive issue based story which tries to sensitive the readers about. So this story need to know. Set against a rural backdrop, stench of kerosene is the story of a couple, Gulari and Manak, who have since happily married for several years but do not have a child. Manak's mother is desperate to have a grandchild to carry on the family name. Hence she gets Manak's remarried in Gulari absence. Manax, who acts as a reluctant but passive spectator, is meanwhile informed by a friend that Gulari, on hearing about her husband's second marriage, poured kerosene on her clothes and set fires to them. Manak is heartbroken and begins to live as if he were a dead man. When his second wife delivers a son, Manak stares at the child for a long time and blurt out, "Take him away, he stinks of kerosene." So this is very heart touching story. So question is, this is a sensitive issue based story which tries to sensitize the readers about male chauvinism and infidelity, love and betrayal, lack of legal safeguards for women, influence of patriarchal mindsets. This is not a very easy question. His answer is very critical, but answer is D, influence of patriarchal mindset. So passage 3, the ultimate aim of government is not to rule or control by fear, not to rule or control by fear, nor to demand obedience, but conversely to free every man from fear, that he may live in all possible security. In other words, to strengthen his natural rights to exist and work without injury to himself or others. The object of government is not to change men from rational beings into beasts or puppets. It should enable them to develop their minds and bodies in security and to employ their reasons unshackled. So question is, which among the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the above passage? First option, the true aim of government is to secure the citizens, their social and political freedoms. The primary concerns of government is to provide absolute social security to all its citizens. The best government is the one that allows the citizens to enjoy absolute liberty in all matters of life. The best government is the one that provides absolute physical security to the people of the country. So answer is very easy. Answer is A. The true aim of government is to secure the citizens, their social and political freedom. So passage 4. Our municipal corporations are understaffed. The issue of skills and competencies of the staff poses an even greater challenge. Urban services delivery and infrastructures are complex to plan and execute. They require a high degree of specializations and professionalisms. The current frameworks within which municipal employees, including senior managements, are recruited does not adequately factor in the technical and managerial competencies required. Cadre and recruitments rules only specify the bare minimum in academic qualifications. There is no mentions of managerial or technical competencies or of relevant work experience. This is the case of most municipal corporations. They also suffer from weak organizations, designs and structures. So you understand what was said by the passage. So question is, which among the following is the most logical and rational assumptions that can be made from the above passage? First options, the ask of providing urban services is a complex issue which requires the organizational expansions of municipal bodies all over the country. Our cities can provide better quality of life if our local government's bodies have adequate staff with required skills and competencies. Lack of skilled staff is due to the absence of institutions which offer the requisite skills in city managements. Our country is not taking advantage of the demographic dividends to manage the problems associated with rapid urbanizations. So question number 24 answer is B. Our cities can provide better quality of life if our local government bodies have adequate staff with the required skills and competencies. This is all over India. So passage 5. Flamingos in large flocks in the wild are social and extremely loyal. They perform group meetings, dances. Parents are very fond of their chicks, gathering them into creaches for protection, while both males and females fly off to search for food. Which among the following is the most logical corollary to the above passage? Mass mating in all species of birds is essential to ensure complete survival of their offspring. Only birds have the capacity to develop social behaviors and thus can do mass nesting to raise their chicks is safety. Social behavior in some species of birds increases the odds of survival in an unsafe world. All species of birds set up creaches for their chicks to teach them social behavior and loyalty. So answer is very easy. Answer is C. Social behavior in some species of birds increase the odds of survival in the unsafe world. So this is passage number 6. Vast numbers of Indian citizens without bank account live in rural areas, are financially and functionally illiterate and have little experience with technology. A research study was conducted in a particular area in which electronic wage payments in Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Schemes (MGNREGS) are meant to go directly to the poor. It was observed that recipients often assume that the village leaders needs to mediate the process, as was the case under the previous papers-based systems. Among households under this research study area who claim to have at least one bank account, every third reported still receiving MGNREGS wages in cash directly from a village leader. What is the most logical, rational and crucial message that is implied in the above passage? MGNREGS should be extended only to those who have a bank account. The paper-based systems of payment is more efficient than the electronic payment in the present scenario. The good goal of electronic wage payments was not to eliminate mediations of village leaders. It is essential to provide financial literacy to the rural poor. So what is the logical rationals? Crucial message. This is very important questions. Answer is D. It is essential to provide financial literacy to the rural poor. Individuals, groups and leaders who promote human development operates under strong institutional structures and political constraints that affects policy options, but experience suggests broad principles for shaping and appropriate agenda for human development. One important finding from several decades of human development experience is that focusing exclusively on economic growth is problematic. While we have good knowledge about how to advance health and education, the cause of growth are much less certain and growth is often elusive. Further, an unbalanced emphasis on growth is often associated with negative environmental consequences and adverse distributional effect. The experience of China with its impressive growth records reflect these broader concerns and underline the importance of balanced approaches that emphasize investments in the non-income aspects of human development. So question is, with reference to the above passage, consider the following statements. First statement is, in developing countries, a strong institutional framework is the only requirement for human developments and policy options. Human developments and economic growth are not always positively interrelated. Focusing only on the human developments could be the goal of economic growth. Which of the above statement is correct? So question number 27, answer is C, 2 only. Human developments and economic growth are not always positively interrelated. So question number 28, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. A higher economic growth is essential to ensure reductions in economic disparity. Environmental degradation is sometimes a consequence of economic growth. Which of the above is are valid assumptions? So answer is very easy. Answer is only 2. Environmental degradation is sometimes a consequence of economic growth. So dear students, we end this class here. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe and share.